Good morning, everybody. My name is Carroll, and this is Instagram, fixing the fluid image. So, first of all, what is Instagram? Oh, there we go. Right, start again. Sorry about that. What is Instagram? For those who don't know, and for those who do, we'll just take a moment to take ourselves through its process. Instagram is a smartphone application which is currently limited to iPhone and Android, but it allows the user to take a photograph and instantly upload and share it online with their network of followers. The sharing of these images is very much based on the design of social network, where there is a constant stream or feed of images. But with Instagram, this information is images. So we'll take a photo. You take the user as myself, and I take a photo. And with this photo, I can choose to title it or not, and in this case I did, and the title is Bookshelf Skeleton. And as we can see, I can also categorize it with hashtags with the themes that are in this image. So I'll take the hashtag window as an example, and we can see that there are 1,512,644 photographs on Instagram that also share that same tag. So we'll take something that's a little bit more popular, which is pick of the day, and we can see that there are 54,122,750 images which also share that tag. One of the top 5 tags on Instagram is love, and we can see that there are 145,079,460 images which are also tagged with that same tag. So what we can understand is that if we categorize our images and tag our images, we can potentially expose our Instagram photos to millions of users. In September 2012, Instagram reached 100 million users, and it's estimated that 26 photographs are uploaded to Instagram every single second. So it's easy to we can understand that in 10% of all photographs ever taken were taken in 2011. And there's one thing that we've missed out so far, which we haven't talked about, and that's the Instagram filter. So when we talk about the Instagram filter, firstly, what do we mean? We understand we take a photograph, and then Instagram provides us with this optional editing process. It gives us a set of filters which are almost like a controlled or designed editing process, which are branded down to a quirky name like X-Pro or Nashville. And they all do something different to the image. We can then apply this filter, this editing process, to one of our photographs, and it will then enhance it. Kevin Systrom is the co-founder of Instagram, and an article for the New York Times has said, "We set out to solve the main problem of taking pictures on a mobile phone, is that they're often blurry or poorly composed. We fixed that. The filters that are there for us to use are often seemingly designed on old film and processing aesthetics. With one tap on a screen, you can turn your digital mobile phone photograph into a handmade analog darkroom print, and it's instantly ready to share online. There seems to be this pursuit for nostalgia, and like Stephen Mays has said, we're embracing the cell phone, but desperately trying to link it back to what we know, our histories, and what is familiar. Well, aesthetically, it looks good. It's quirky, it's retro, it's cool, but ultimately, it takes us back to a time when we can remember interacting with a single artifact and the experience of its aesthetic. Whether you can remember handling, viewing, and smelling the old family photographs your grandmother keeps in a shoebox, or shaking a Polaroid picture, it's this nostalgia which helps us understand the potential of mobile phone photography, and also the potential of Instagram, because it simply gets us producing more images. Now, nostalgia in definition is a sentimental longing or wistful affection for a period of time in the past. We can also say that photographs are mnemonic to nostalgia, that they assist in the memory. Kodak picked up on this in the 20th century, and they were always selling the idea to the consumer that the consumer's memory itself is unreliable, and that a photograph will actually keep that memory better. They were selling the memory, and we were sold the memory, which encouraged us to cherish the analog image. And now over time, that nostalgia has also become about the medium, and not just about the memory we captured in that photograph. Nancy Martha West has said that Kodak systematically urged its consumers to view photography and the world it recorded through the lens of nostalgia. We practice an experiment with a familiar medium in order to adapt to the new medium. And when we talk about the single artifact and these old analog images, we are talking of the fixed image. You can touch it, hold it, frame it on your wall. It's negotiated by time and space. But when we are talking of the Instagram image, the digital image, we're talking of the fluid image. And as Fred Richin describes it, as quantum imagery. And when expanded on by Stephen Mays, he says that digital photography is anything and everything at any single moment. It has contradictory meanings all at once. Instagram is a perfect example of the fluid image in a very literal sense. And there have been arguments over Instagram being the death of photography, similar to arguments of Twitter being death to journalism. But surely as practitioners, we should be asking instead how we can use this platform to benefit our practice instead of hammering the first nail in the coffin. Instagram is not necessarily based on the actual photograph, but simply on the sharing and the social media platform. Let's take Facebook and its news feeds as an example. You can read a status from someone, and it will probably stick around for about a day or two, but after a week it's gone, it's in the stream, it's fluid. You'll probably forget that it ever even existed. This is the same for Instagram, except the status is a photograph. It is uploaded for immediate feedback or immediate response, immediate likes and shares. It has not been produced to be fixed. So we can start to understand why Fred Richin and Stephen Mays and other theorists are stating that digital photography is its own medium. When we first invented the automobile, we called it the horseless carriage. We still have horsepower in our cars, but the car has nothing to do with horses. Digital photography has very little to do with what we think of as photography. So why are we beginning to fix the fluid image? Especially these images which have been created and designed on a digital platform for digital use. We've digitalized the negative, and now we want to negatize the digitive, or should I say fix the fluid image. Christopher Bananos, in an article for the New York Magazine, has said that Instagram is tapping the sense, a sense that has almost been lost, that a photograph itself is a precious object. So if we think about this in the idea of nostalgia, by using the filters and the analog edit to the digital photograph, we are reconnecting with the older image-making processes and systematically reconnecting with the single artifact, and the importance that it is fixed. An example of this is the Impossible Film Project, who purchased an old Polaroid factory in an attempt to start making and producing new Polaroid film for an estimated 300 million still working and still existing Polaroid cameras. In 2011, they sold just under 1 million packs of new Polaroid film, and now from October 2012, they've raised funding through a Kickstarter project to begin the production of the Impossible Instant Lab, and it's to introduce to the market this year.
First, extend the tower. Launch the Impossible app, select an image, start the timer and place the iPhone in the cradle. Open the shutter. Wait for the signal that the exposure is finished. Close the shutter. Push the button and enjoy how a digital image develops as a beautiful real photo in your hands.
So this prints digital images as Polaroid prints, straight from your iPhone. This is an example of fixing the fluid image. Printstagram is another example, but they specialize in the printing of Instagram photos with many different products and packages, but in this case we'll take the memory box, promoting the physical photo album and the physical document, and it prints off all of the photographs that you've ever taken on Instagram, and you can even double up prints for sharing. Rather than having your image shared with potentially millions of users online on Instagram, it denies the possibilities of the quantum image in favor of the printed, fixed, destructible analog one. By this time next year, there'll also be a prototype Social-Matic camera, which is a fully functioning Instagram digital camera, and it prints an Instagram image. Think of it as an app in a camera's body, but it does give you a print. This is also another new product which fixes the fluid image. So why do we want these images in our hands, pockets, shoeboxes, wallets? If you all take a moment just to look under your seat, you should find Blue Tactile Print. So I'll just give you a moment to look under it and find it. If you just take a moment to look at it and feel it in your hands, and just get to know it and understand it as a fixed image. Think about the last time you actually held a photograph. For this symposium, I've been an active user of Instagram for 4 months, and the image you hold will be one of the ones I have taken over this period. These images are now forgotten, they're in the stream, they're fluid. Until now, when I've fixed it to give to you. And this image is now yours to do what you want with. The reason why this physical artifact is so special is down to the provenance of it, the meaning. You can see that it is handmade with handwriting, that it is shared from a human and not a cyborg. It's shared from me to you. It's unique. I can't share it in the same way with you over the internet. You now have control over this photograph and like its fluid form on the internet. And this photograph will now become negotiated by time and space. And it will also become mnemonic to the memory of this day. And I believe that the reason why the artifact is so attractive in the fluid digital world, and the reason why we want to start holding our images again, is simply because we've experienced the fluid, and we experience it every day. And as humans, we feel there is something missing in that world that comes through the screens. Marshall McLuhan once said, that one thing about which fish know exactly nothing is water, meaning they haven't experienced the dry. So how can they know that they're in water? We have experienced the fluid, we have experienced the water, we've experienced the stream, the news feeds, the digital, but we have also experienced the dry, the analog, the artifact, the photographic print. And I believe that the fluid digital environment has given us the alternative to realise the importance of the fixed image. Thank you.